So, Asia Pacific is very diverse. If you look at it, we've got very developed nations, Singapore, Japan. You've got developing economies, Sri Lanka, Indonesia. You've got challenging topographies. You've got archipelagos like 17,000 islands in Indonesia, 6,000 islands in Philippines, and connecting those with traditional terrestrial connectivity is very challenging. So having solutions that are wireless based really help connecting those places. So terrain challenges as well. So I think if you look at the diverse type of customers and the connectivity we can provide solutions for both of those environments. And to give you examples, in Japan we'd be focusing on things like disaster recovery for when there's earthquakes or tsunamis and making sure there's communications available during those times. For the developing countries, it might be looking more at digital inclusion and ensuring there's not a big digital divide between the cities and the more remote areas. So digital inclusion becomes a really important part of that. But diversity, different requirements and different economies, but satellite is a jewel that brings it all together. Yeah. So we're really excited about Meosphere. So one of the challenges we have at the moment is how do we adapt to the new environment? And traditionally we get our satellites made by Boeing, Airbus, or one of those big organisations, and they cost us hundreds of millions of dollars, and they'd take 3 or 4 years to manufacture, and then we'd have to put them into space. And in the reality in the world we're in, we need to be a lot more dynamic with our supply chain. So we made an announcement March this year that we're working with a new space company called K2, which is based in Los Angeles. And they're going to be designing the bus, the power for our satellites, and it's a very powerful bus. It's 20 kilowatts, and that's a lot more powerful than what most satellites have today. They're normally around 5 kilowatts. It's going to be placed in a MEO orbit, which is about 8,000 kilometers from Earth, which we think is a great altitude for providing global connectivity. It's scalable, so the initial constellation is 28 satellites. We'll be launching 7 satellites per rocket, so it's 4 launches to get the constellation up there. And we're looking at taking the bus to our homeland in Luxembourg, where we're building a factory. We'll integrate payload onto that. And another unique part of this is cost. We're looking at a modular satellite at $20 million as opposed to a $300 million satellite. So it makes us a lot more cost effective. And as they're modular, we'll be making multiples of these a year, and enables us to scale very, very quickly. So we get a lot more cost effective. We've looked at the design of the antenna. We're looking at 25 centimetre and 50 centimetre flat panel antennas that will work with this constellation. It's pole-to-pole coverage, and because we've got so much power, you remember I talked about 20 kilowatts? So we've got a communications payload on it for our core business, but we can diversify the payload. We can put missile tracking, we can put sovereign payloads for countries, and sovereignty is becoming a more and more important conversation with our geopolitics. So if a particular country wants to have something specific to them, we can either slice it from our network or put something on them specific. We can put each one of the satellites is going to have an optic kit on it, up to 4 of them, which will enable us to do what's called space data relay, which is basically creating the internet in space. We'll be having optic connection between our constellation and LEO constellations for transferring information at 100 gigabits per second, which is astounding figures using these optic heads. And that helps us diversify our business. We're not just doing our communications payload, which we traditionally did, but we're looking at all these other areas, which is really, really exciting. And since March and since announcing this, we've had incredible interest on what we're doing, on the diversity of the payload, and talking with many nations about how we can help them be relevant in the future with Meosphere. It's a really good opportunity to bring our organisation together. We're a global organisation, so people have come from Europe, from the States, from all over Asia. So we come together. So there's a real benefit of sharing information. I think a lot of our customers come here, so it's a really good opportunity to meet customers and learn from them and pitch what we're looking at the future, because it's been very new meosphere, and talk to that and to learn, right? There's a big learning thing we get from listening to customers, and that helps us adapt to our future and what we need to provide.